Hey friends, Miss Torrance again. Okay, so this lesson here, lesson 69, we're going to go ahead and start with talking about the book that you all got to read. And remember, you will have a quiz. Okay. So things that I want you to understand about this book is that wildlife animals leave clues all over the city. Okay, so to find which animals are there, naturalists look for tracks, nests, and scat. Remember what scat is. Um, they listen to the sounds of animals in the city and they record their observations. They use tools to identify the clues they find. Also, you should have thought beyond the text and thought that naturalists are like detectives solving a mystery to find out which animals are around them. It's easier to identify tracks made in soft material than in hard, like sand or dirt versus concrete. Um, Different animals use different materials to make their home. Also, thinking about the text, you should have thought about the writer includes an example of a notebook to show the reader what kinds of information to record, just in case you actually want to, be a naturalist or pretend or play. Okay. The table helps the reader identify clues left behind by urban wildlife and questions. The author questions has questions in the text that model the questions naturalists would ask themselves. Okay, so look back at the reading from yesterday, which is this one. The writer of a nonfiction book tries to interest readers by using an interesting lead that sets the scene for the information. So on pages 2, 3, and 16, go ahead and look at those. 2, 3, and then 16, okay, which is the end. The I want you to think, share your thinking about how the author begins and ends the text. Okay, so go ahead and talk about that with your partner. Okay, so you notice that the writer begins by presenting a mystery to readers. She doesn't provide the information and the answer to the mystery until the last page of the book. That's interesting. She reeled y'all in, and then she let you read, and then she revealed the mystery at the end. Okay, that's pretty cool. So she doesn't provide the answer to the mystery until the very last page of the book. So by then, you had the information you needed to solve it. Do you think the writer's technique might makes the book more interesting than just telling the facts? I do. I really do, because it gets your brain thinking. Then it gives you information because you're a little curious. And then at the end, you're like, oh, I knew that. Okay. So when you write an informational book, you need to think of a way to interest writers and draw them in by helping them hear your voice. We call that having voice as a writer, or hearing the writer's voice. Okay, so the word naturalist, that's your vocab word. Okay, so I want you to look back in the reading from yesterday to think um, about the word meaning. Okay, so read the first paragraph on page 4 and find the word naturalist. So go back, read page 4, naturalist. Let me see where that is. I'm going to skim and scan. Did anybody find it? I did. Paragraph 2. All naturalists have one thing in common: the ability to look and listen carefully. Okay, so by that, you should know that, okay, remember our strategy? Think of little words in the big word. So I see nature in there. I see natural. And I see the word naturalist. So I know nature is like the world around me, the surroundings. Um, the suffix ist means someone who does something. So if I am a scientist, I do science. If I am a biologist, I do biology. If I am a naturalist, I do things that have to do with nature. You see how that works? Good. All right, let's get into fluency. So I want you to look back from your reading from yesterday. Look at page 4, um, and notice how it sounds when I read it for the first time. Then I'm going to read it a little faster, and you can comment on how my reading sounds. So I won't read too fast. I'll read just right so that it'll sound like I'm talking. Okay, kind of like what I'm doing now. And and I want you to remember what we said about this. When you read things more than once, you get more fluent, and you can understand your reading a little better, okay? So first paragraph, page 4, okay? If your curiosity just won't leave you alone, you might have what it takes to become an urban naturalist, a kind of city wildlife detective. A naturalist knows how to recognize clues that reveal where wild animals have been, what they are eating, and where they raise their young. Learning to recognize these clues will help you identify the many wild animals that live in cities throughout the world. Okay, so that was my first time. I did, I wasn't familiar with all the words that were there, but this is my second time. I just write speed, but I'm still going to scoop and phrase, okay? If your curiosity just won't leave you alone, you might have what it takes to become an urban naturalist, a kind of city wildlife detective. A naturalist knows how to recognize clues that reveal where wild animals have been, what they are eating, and where they raise their young. Learning to recognize these clues will help you identify the many wild animals that live in cities throughout the world. Okay? Alrighty, so I want you now to read page 4, only the first paragraph, okay? Go ahead and stop. Go ahead and stop. You can take your headphones off if you want to. And just go ahead and read page 4, paragraph 1. And then come back because we got word study next. Okay, so the spelling principle that we're going to go over now is plurals with spelling changes, okay? So for instance, with a partner, I want you to take turns reading these words and then change each word so it means more than one and use it in a sentence. So for example, if the word were man, you could say the men left the field quickly. Okay? And then I want you to write your sentences on a piece of paper. Okay? So I'll have your words. Okay? And then I want you to change them to the plural sound. Okay? So your first word is child. Change that to the plural. Life. Change that to the plural. Tooth. Change that to the plural. And woman. Change that to a plural. So change the word to a plural and give me a sentence. Make sure you write that on your paper, okay? So go ahead and stop and do it. Okay, so just a little pointer. The words like deer, moose, and sheep, those you can't really change to a plural because it's not going to be correct, okay? It's not going to sound right, okay? So those have the same singular and plural sound and spelling. Like deer, you wouldn't say those deers over there. You would just say those deer over there. You wouldn't say those mooses over there. You would just say those moose over there. There's a lot of them, okay? Or those sheeps. You just say those sheep in the pasture are very healthy, okay? All right, so go ahead and make sure you finish that activity, okay? So go ahead and stop the video and do that. Alrighty, so here is your next book. Octopus, Escape Artists of the Sea. Ooh, I like this one. Okay, so this nonfiction text, part of the Integrating Animals series describes the characteristics of an octopus that allow it to protect itself from predators. It includes specific examples of different varieties and how each escape predators. Okay, so today you will read another book in the Integrating Animals series. It's the other one was The Particular Platypus and The Amazing Gecko, if you read those, okay? So this title is The Octopus, Escape Artist of the Sea by Carolyn Arnold. So what do you already know about octopus? Go ahead and stop and talk to your partner. Okay, now that you're back. Because this is part of a series about unusual animals, what kind of information will you expect to learn about the octopus? Probably some unusual, peculiar things, right? So you will read about unusual features of the octopus, especially the way the octopus body is specifically designed to help it escape its enemies. So look at page 2 and 3. There's a good picture of an octopus here. There are many different kinds of octopuses. Besides this one. That one's pretty. Okay, so on page 2, I want you to look at mollusk. Okay, so in the glossary, it would be in the glossary because it's bold, right? So remember that. The mollusks are shellfish like clams and mussel, but they don't have the shells to protect themselves. Okay. So you will read about the unique defense mechanisms that the octopus have to protect itself against the enemies. So on page 4 and 5, what kind of information will you get here from this labeled drawing? And then also the sidebar tells you something about the word octopus. Okay, so make sure you read that and that. Okay, page 6 and 7, go ahead and turn to that. It shows the suckers on the octopus's arms. These suckers are very useful to the octopus. Okay, look at page 8 and 9. Oh, that is so pretty. Look at pages 8 and 9 and read the caption for the picture. Remember, caption talks about the picture. Text features. What did you learn? Okay, you will read why the blue-ringed octopus is so dangerous. What did you learn from the map on page 8? Ooh, I can already see the area where the blue-ringed octopus live. I'm gonna actually stay away from that. And ooh, look, it's near Australia, where our kangaroo and our platypus and our other unusual animal lived. Okay, the headings on page 10, hiding out, you will be reading about how the octopus can hide from their enemies. Ooh. Okay, on page 12, what will you be reading about here? Ooh, octopus skin colors. Okay, skin cells with colors, top layer, reflecting cells, and the muscle. Okay, so that's how that works. Got it. There is something very special about the octopus that might help people someday. Read the caption with the picture on page 19. Oh my goodness, okay, you'll read about that. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to spoil the movie that's going to go on in your head. Okay, so the octopus can grow a new arm if one is broken off or bitten off by a predator. Awesome. Can you think of how understanding this might help humans? Yes. Think of soldiers in war, people who lose their limbs. Maybe we can do some research and figure out how the octopus is able to grow that limb back. That's cool. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let you read this silently. So go ahead and stop the video. I want you to read it from the beginning to the end because there is so much cool, interesting information in here. My son saw this book and he was like, hey, can I read that? And I was like, yes, let me do my lesson first, and then you can read it. But he fell asleep, so now I have to have him read it in the car. But anyways, so go ahead and read that, okay? And then I'll see you later to discuss it. Okay, you should be back. So wait a minute. Stop. Take your headphones off if you want to. Read the book from the beginning to the end, and then come back, okay? All right, so you should be back. So we talked about, you got to read about octopus escape artists of the sea, okay? So what was surprising information to you? Take us through the page where you found interesting information and talk about it. It might be a picture or sidebars or the main body of the text. So go ahead and stop, take your headphones off, turn and talk to your partner, and actually show them the pages and the words and everything that you found that was so interesting. And then come on back. All right, so welcome back. So things that you should have made connections on, okay? An octopus can protect itself in a variety of ways, including changing the color, squirting ink, and using venom. Oh my goodness. An octopus is a mollusk, so it needs those things to protect itself. The suckers and arms help it hold, feel, taste, all that. And the octopus uses muscles to change its color. Wow, that's cool. When you're thinking beyond the text, think of having multiple ways to protect itself allows the octopus to survive in its environment, right? And scientists, they have spent a lot of time studying octopus because they are so interesting. Okay, now thinking about the text and what the writer did, you should have thought about things like the writer wants the reader to know why the octopus is considered the greatest escape artist. The writer uses categories to explain different ways that the octopus can protect itself. And then the writer ends the book with interesting facts to leave you wondering and wanting more, right? So the message is that animal adaptations have helped them survive. So studying the defense mechanisms of some animals can help scientists help people. Scientists can often learn from nature too. Okay, so that's the message. Remember, every time you read something, think about the message. If it's a fiction story, think about the life lesson that you can learn from these characters and the story and the situation and their feelings. And if it's a nonfiction story, think about what you're learning and think about how that can help you. Think about how it can help our environment. Think about if it inspired you to do anything or learn anything more. Okay, so you got to think about these things while you're reading. Okay, not only because you're going to have a test, but because it makes you stronger, your mind stronger. It makes you, be able to learn and grow as a fifth grader going on to sixth grade. Okay. All right. So I had a teaching point for you on page 14 and 15. What interesting information did you get from these pages? So 14, 15, go ahead and turn back, please. What information did you get from these pages? Ooh. Wow. Okay, so and what information did you get from the main body and in the pictures? Okay, I want you to pause your video, stop, take your headphones off, and turn and talk about that. Okay. So, welcome back. The writer says that the mimic octopus is the true master of disguise. How does the writer support that statement? So, how does the writer say that and then prove it? I need you to find it. So, stop, take your headphones off, and find how the author proves that this is the master of escaping. Okay? So if you make a statement, it is helpful to readers if you also give examples to support it. Okay? Always be able to support anything that you say, okay? Alrighty. Well, thank you. I'll see you later. You did a great job.